Alrighty, so I've just paused the free 5 p.m. game with 15 minutes left, and the reason why I decided to do it is that, I know that there is a small buffer space between all those games that is over and the final game of match week number 12, that is the Portland Timbers and the Philadelphia Union, but it's still not enough time for me to basically do all 4 of these games review from yesterday, and again, this is really the only time I can do a review for the Saturday game. If I don't do it now, I'm gonna have to kind of do a 14 game review tomorrow, and I'm not going to try to do that. Like, that would be absolutely insane. That video would be the longest video I've ever produced on my channel, and I'm pretty sure no one want to watch like a 2-hour review video of match week number 12. But that being said, in terms of the 4 games that happened yesterday, well, it turns out Mother Nature were not kind to us yesterday, because basically almost every single game was delayed because of a lightning strike. And you can say that pretty much all the game was delayed by some sort of weather, because in the first game that we're going to be talking about between DC versus Toronto, and it turns out indeed this game was delayed because they apparently had some hot temperature that was in the DC area, which it also kind of makes me wonder, if you're going to delay a game because of the heat, why not do it, like, delay it till when it's nighttime? I mean, by the time this game started, it was still 6:30, and the sun was still out, and the sun was basically out for a majority part of this game. So, I know the temperature would cool down by the time it gets to 6:30, but, the sun is still shining, and it is still hot there, so that was kind of weird that is the case, because I know last year when there was also a game that was delayed for a very late kickoff, and I remember that was the game between the Timbers and Minnesota, and how in Portland the temperature were like 100+ degree, and they had to delay the kickoff until sunset in Portland, which was around 8:30 because of it. And I was wondering, what they should have probably done the same thing here, with the way that they should have maybe just get this game underway at around 8 o'clock, because most DC game basically kick off at 8 o'clock at pretty much in most of the time, right? So yeah, but either way, in terms of this game itself, well, for DC, yeah, they would feel like they definitely dropped 2 points in this game, and this one will definitely felt like a loss for them, because yeah, they looked like they were on their way to get a massive 3 points, but then they gave up a late goal and had to settle for a point. Though early on, it looked like they were the dominant team. I mean, 6 minutes in, Flores was able to put Sidwire on the volley, and they were on the front foot early, and they were rewarded with that by scoring a goal just 1 minute later after I wrote that, as Edison Flores would score from Estrada and Funtas to give DC a 1-0 lead. And, despite the fact that DC did start off well, Toronto kind of did get back into this game. And one thing I also mentioned in this game was that there was definitely some momentum swing in this game. I mean, early on, DC were by far the better team, but TFC kind of got back into this one, though they weren't really creating much because DC was doing a very good job on the defensive end. Flores tried to toe poke it in for his second goal, but he was just out of reach as he was trying to toe poke it in. And then on the other end, Jimenez hits one straight to Hamid, but then in the 36th minute, Akinola would score from Jimenez to give the equalizer for TFC, and it kind of came over a bad turnover from DC. And in fact, when I do the review tomorrow and I talk about bad turnover, boy oh boy, we had tons of bad giveaways that cost a goal for the opposition, and that turns out maybe this was just kind of a foreshadow of how defense this week had a relatively rough kind of time. But there was no doubt the momentum was with TFC after the equalizer, and they were pushing to try to get the lead, but we do head to halftime tied at 1 apiece between both of these teams. Now in the second half, Gresso's Skies went over the bar before Durkins hits one straight to Bono, and again, DC, they got the momentum back. They were in control early, looking to try to get the lead back, though on the other end, Hamid did head to deny Priso from close range, but they do get the lead back in the 56th minute. It's Estrada that was able to score here to give DC the 2-1 lead, but in many ways, miscommunication here between Thompson and Bono here, and yeah, I mean, another thing that I've also will mention a lot, especially in tomorrow's review, is that there was also some bad goalkeeping howler, and this one was just some miscommunication here between Thompson and Bono, and Estrada basically with the benefit of that. And yeah, that gives DC the lead back. It was almost 3-1 just 4 minutes later as Taxi Funtas blasted just high from close range. Hamid then denied Aquinola in the back post, and then Roberta hits one straight to Bono. And, both teams were pressing for that next crucial goal because, as the old saying goes, when you do have just one goal separate between both of these teams, especially heading down the wire, that next goal is going to really determine the outcome of the game. Funtas tried to score that next goal for DC and really put this game out of reach, but he blasted wide from high, and that miss turns out to be costly for DC to try to put it away because just 8 minutes later, Osorio would tie the game up at 2 apiece. So Jonathan Osorio coming back from this TFC side, and certainly I'm pretty sure they definitely miss his presence with him being on the IR for the past couple of weeks. And, he came off the bench here and scored a goal to tie the game up at 2 apiece, and that would be the final score of this game. As the shots in this one, 17 shots compared to the 14 that Toronto has, 7 shots on goal compared to the 6 that TFC had, 5 shots off target compared to the 4 that Toronto has, 5 shots that was blocked compared to the 4 that Toronto has, and possession-wise, 48% possession compared to the 52% possession that TFC had in this game. And like I said, for DC, they'll be very frustrated with this result. I mean, anytime when you give up a goal late, especially at home, it's definitely very infuriating. And for TFC, I guess they'll be happy at the fact that they got a point and they were able to mount a late goal to salvage a point out of this game. But the problem is that continues the winless run. I mean, their winless run is what now, at 6 or 7 games right now, and that draws on the road will always be good. But unless if you're a team that is struggling right now, that is TFC, yeah, a draw is clearly not enough. They need to snap out of this winless run if they don't want the season to really slip away. And that, again, I think there was also a mention before that even when Insigne does come to this team, I don't think Insigne is going to save this team. Like, the problem for this Toronto team is clearly on the defensive end. I mean, they are scoring enough goals too, and that Insigne, I think, is gonna produce more of a spark in terms of this team. But on the defensive end, that is still a big problem, and that's been the problem for this TFC team. And that, I think, you can also say that they have no one to blame but themselves, because this off season, one of the big things that they had to figure out was the problem on the defensive end, and the fact that they did not decide to address that, they're basically seeing the same issue that they had last season. But that being said, moving on in the next match, and now get to the 3 games that was delayed because of lightning, and that we had this one, and this one. Though I will say that both of these games were delayed by lightning for like more than 3 hours, and this one were kind of the lucky ones. The fact that it was only delayed by lightning for not very long. Well, I say not very long, but as I'll talk about later in this game, this game was delayed almost an hour and a half because of lightning. But that's nothing compared to what we saw in this game, where, yeah, what we saw in this game was the fact that I think whoever was in charge of trying to get the game back underway, yeah, they probably got some explanation to do at the end of this, because this game, first of all, was delayed for lightning for almost 3 hours, and the game was restarted at 6:42, and you're thinking, okay, looks like the game is back on, even though, I know a lot of Columbus fans were saying that, the radar looks still very ugly, and that it would be crazy, the fact that they would actually decide to restart it. And turns out enough, they were crazy to restart it, and to no one's surprise, just 3 minutes later after they basically kicked off the game was back under a lightning delay. Like, that has to be the quickest in terms of a game being kicked off after delay by lightning, to go right back to a lightning delay. And it also is kind of frustrating too for some of those fans in the stands, because I think there is a specific rule where once the game does start, yeah, that means refund is basically off the table. And I guess maybe this is just the crew, or at least the staff at lower.com feel kind of just trying to really trying to give their supporter a bad part of the deal, where they decide to kick off the game and realize, okay, well, we're just going to start because we're going to not actually offer anybody refund if they do leave the stadium, and therefore that of course is the case. And that, yeah, I mean, that feels like it's a very, very dirty move that they made. But I guess maybe that's just one way to earn some match revenue, even though by the time when this game did restart at 7:58, I mean, that stadium was like a quarter empty. And as I said, with most of these weather delay, I mean, besides this one, because this one, it was only delayed for an hour and a half, and there was still plenty of fans that was in the stadium by the time this game started around 7:30. But I know, as I'll talk about in this one between Nashville and Atlanta, especially as we get into very late into the evening, there was basically nobody in this stadium whatsoever. But as I said, the game did restart at 7:58 p.m. and in the 8th minute, there was an opportunity for Columbus to get the opening goal, but Crepeau was able to deny Yobo from the near post. And I thought Columbus came out of the weather delay the stronger team. I mean, it's always hard to come out of a delay, especially with the way that this game was supposed to schedule at around 3:50, and yeah, this game basically is now started about 4 hours late. Well, 3 hours if you count the original start, but if you want to count majority part of the game, yeah, it's 4 hours late. And not to mention, it's got to also be hard for those players to kind of be warmed up and ready to tell that they're getting ready to get back on the pitch to just play 3 minutes, and then basically told that, yeah, we're going to have to go back to the locker room. But certainly Columbus kind of came out the stronger side out of that, and they were looking to get the opening goal. Though on the other end, Fall did head one straight to Rome before Artur hits it just high from long range in the 37th minute as we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. And then in the second half, and did I mention the fact that this game is on Twitter? Yeah, when this game is on Twitter, and the fact that I also had to kind of watch a knockoff stream because I was so worried that the Twitter stream was not going to be back because of a weather day. I mean, the Twitter stream eventually was back, but I just decided to watch a knockoff stream because I know the commentary is going to be bad. And I did also watch some of the highlights of this game because with this game being delayed so long, and I had to do my Sports Hop series in the evening, there was no way I could have watched this one. But yeah, when I watched the highlights, it turns out that the main commentator for this game, yeah, he decided that he's done for the rest of the day. Like, he must have had a specific schedule where his shift is going to end, and he kind of just say, yeah, I'm not going to do overtime. I'm just gonna check out at halftime. So basically, it turns out the only commentator in this game was the color analyst, and yeah, when you put a color analyst to be the main commentator, yeah, that's not going to end well, because for the rest of the game, that was some of the most boring commentating that I've seen. And I mentioned Twitter commentating has been bad, but this is on a whole another level where I'm pretty sure everyone that muted because of this boring commentary. I mean, I wouldn't blame you whatsoever. It's a commentary that can easily put someone to sleep. Though, besides talking about that, because I mentioned too many times about the bad Twitter commentary. Once again, I thought Columbus come out the break the stronger team. Yoboa looked like he scored the opening goal for Columbus, but the goal was disallowed for offside. But then on the other end, just 6 minutes after Columbus thought that they got the 1-0 lead, LAFC gets the 1-0 lead, and it's Carlos Vela, the one that gives LAFC a 1-0 lead. So that's got to be frustrating for Columbus, scoring a goal on one end and then having it disallowed and then giving it on the other end. I mean, I can relate to that because I know my team has suffered those kind of problems before. But really, this goal that Columbus have gave up was really just back for them making a boneheaded play. Like, I think it was Williams the one that was trying to kind of make a slide challenge on Vela as he was going through on goal, and he just completely missed it. And yeah, when Vela is in the open field, he's not going to miss very often, and he definitely didn't miss here to give LAFC a 1-0 lead. And then just 9 minutes later, Rodriguez missed wide after another WTF moment from the Crew defense. I mean, both Williams and Rome just kind of have a mix-up at the back, and Rodriguez basically just kind of say, thank you very much, I'm going to take advantage of it. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to put that one on target. And I mean, Columbus is once again imploding it in the defense, because we saw this happen a lot last season, where they just made some of the most boneheaded play in the world, and that's those boneheaded players the reason why it has cost them the point. And to no one's surprise, just 1 minute later, after they made a boneheaded play that they were almost punished, they were punished of making another boneheaded play, as this time it was Cifuentes the one that was able to capitalize on a boneheaded play that Columbus had. And really, this was just Nagby of all people actually the ball away right to Cifuentes, and yeah, Cifuentes basically say, "Oh, look what I found! I'm just gonna put that into the back of the net and give my team a 2-0 lead." And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're a Crew fan watching that, especially for those remaining fans watching in the stadium, that has to hurt. The fact that they thought that they gone through, they've seen this last season, and they thought that they have already seen enough of it, and that it's a new season. Things, of course, could change. No, it's basically the same bonehead play that we've seen from the Crew last season that is once again popping up in this game again. Now, Artur did hit the side netting in the near post in the 78th minute before Crepeau tipped Hurtado header over the crossbar in the 83rd minute. Columbus did try to push to get one back, but Arango did have the last opportunity for LAFC as he's tried to finish it off, but he was denied by Rome from close range. But in the end, LAFC with a 2-0 win over Columbus, and it's a big victory too, because, you know, on a short week, and especially with a weather delay like that, to be able to go on the road and come away with 3 points, that just shows the mentality of this LAFC team, and especially with the way that they kind of finally hit their first dud of the season, and they're now able to bounce back with this big 2-0 win. But as I said, the shots in this one, 14 shots per the 17 that Columbus had, 4 shots off target per the 5 that Columbus had, 4 shots that was blocked per the 5 that Columbus had, and possession-wise, 48% possession compared to 52% possession that LAFC has in this game. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is FC Cincinnati versus New England. So again, this is the another game that was delayed because of lightning, but at least in this game, because the fact that even with the lightning delay, the game was able to kick off around 7:26 without any other delay throughout. So, you know, for pretty much the whole game, it was pretty much as much as the same crowd that you expect to see in a Cincinnati game, where, you know, that stadium was pretty much packed compared to what we saw in this game, and as I'll talk about later, in this game between Nashville and Atlanta United. But in terms of this one, well, for FC Cincinnati, you knew that they were due for a game like this. I mean, as much as I know, I've given them a lot of credit, and especially give Pat Nolan a lot of credit of turning the luck for the Cincinnati team, you knew eventually they were due for a game where not only they're going to lose, but they're going to also lose in a heartbreaking fashion, and in this case, lose because New England scored 3 absolute amazing goals to come up with all 3 points in this one. Now, as I mentioned, the game was delayed for lightning, and the match kicked off around 7:26. Though not much really happened in the first 15 minutes, as I thought both teams they were trying to find some sharpness after a long weather delay. Again, you know, anytime when you have to prepare and just kind of sit in the locker room to wait before the kickoff of the game, it has to be an agonizing feeling, because you want to get onto the pitch and ready to perform on the pitch, and that, you know, it really kind of throw off your match sharpness. But by the time both teams did start to get into this game, we started to see some action in this, as in the 16th minute, the first shot actually came from DeJuan Jones as he struck the post from long range. But then not long after, New England would take the lead. It's Sebastian Lletget scoring from Brandon Bye to give the Revs a 1-0 lead. Brandon Bye would actually turns out to have a huge game in this one, as I'll mention a little bit later. But Lletget did try to score his second goal there, but he missed that one. I'm not sure. Sorry, he tried to heat for his second goal. I meant he's trying to score his second goal there. Actually, let me just change that. I don't know why I just wrote the word heat there. That was kind of a mistake there. But yeah, he's trying to score for his second, but missed just high there. But in the 26th minute, Cincinnati equalized. And it's Brendan Vasquez scoring from Nelson and Acosta to tie the game up at 1 apiece. I mean, it has to be Brendan Vasquez, one of the hottest striker in the league this season, and he continued that incredible goal scoring feat this season with another goal in this. But the equalizer didn't stay long in this game. Well, actually, it did stay long for about 17 minutes before New England decided that they're going to take the lead back. And it's Buxa this time scoring from Bye and Heel to tie or not tie the game, but give New England a 2-1 lead. And I believe this came off when Buxa was trying to tap it in, but it was in a very lovely kind of way that, yeah, it's an incredible goal that he scored there to give give New England the lead back, and that's where we were heading into the second half. Now, in the second half, once again, I thought there wasn't really much that was coming out of the break, but in the 58th minute, we did see another equalizer from FC Cincinnati. This time, it's Barria scoring from Baji and Acosta, and this was also a wonderful goal from Alvaro Barria. I mean, there was definitely some golazo that was scored in this one. But yeah, that ties the game up at 2 apiece. DeJuan Jones would once again struck the post. This time it was actually from close range, so kind of an unlucky night for DeJuan Jones, because anytime when you struck the post once, it's definitely considered unlucky. But if you struck the post twice on the same game, yeah, you almost at the point that you're basically snake bit. I mean, I've never seen a game so far this season where a player have struck the post 3 times in a game, and if that's the case, then I'm gonna say that player is basically completely snake bit, because if you hit the hat trick in terms of hitting the post, I mean, yeah, it basically just shows that your luck is clearly not there, and the soccer gods clearly didn't want you to score tonight. But as the time winds down, I thought New England no doubt has the momentum, and they were looking for a winning goal. He'll fire one into the side netting from a tight angle in the 85th minute, before in the 89th minute, New England would retake the lead for the 3rd time, and this time for good, as Tommy McNamara would score from Brandon Bai to make it 3-2 in favor of New England. So, as I mentioned, Brandon Bai had an amazing game in this, because he was able to achieve a rare accomplishment of getting a hat-trick of assists. And again, I know, getting a hat-trick of assists is not as impressive of scoring a hat-trick of goal, but with the way that it doesn't really happen as much, and especially with Bai being on the primary assist all 3 times. I mean, if you score a hat-trick of assists, but one of yours is in a secondary assist, it doesn't count as impressive. But because he was on a primary assist all 3 times, yeah, that's going to be very impressive in that. I think that's kind of also the lost art, in terms of the fact that we always cherish when a player score a hat trick, but we don't cherish it enough when a player score a hat trick in terms of assists, because it just you usually you make care only by the goal scored. And in this case, I know everybody will be talking about Tommy McNamara, who just hit an absolute missile from 22 yards out, and that definitely is going to be considered a goal of the week. But yeah, in the end, New England win 3-2 in this one, and the shots in this one, 16 shots compared to 10 that New England has, 4 shots on goal compared to 2 that FC Cincinnati has, 4 shots off target compared to 3 that FC Cincinnati has, 2 shots out of block compared to 5 that Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that New England has in this game. And like I said, Cincinnati, they were due for a heartbreak, and I know on the heartbreak scale, I think this might be on a level of 3 or 4 out of 10 for Cincinnati fans, because I'm pretty sure they have suffered much harder heartbreak. Well, actually, I don't know if does that make sense? Harder heartbreak. But what I'm trying to say is that they definitely suffer much more depressing heartbreak than what they suffer in this game. But yeah, it's unfortunate that their 4-game winning streak does come to an end in this one. And again, I didn't think that they played relatively well in this one. I mean, with the way that they did create some chances in this game too, but they didn't really test Turner a lot in this game. And also for New England, this was a win that they desperately needed. And you can maybe say that in some way, this New England team, with the way that they play in this game against Cincinnati, started to kind of remind you the New England team that won Supporters Shield last season, because these are kind of the wins that New England got on the road, where somehow they score a late winner to get all 3 points in a game. And while I know that of course wasn't sustainable, and we're definitely seeing it this season, I'm thinking New England really need those kind of performance and those kind of results like they did last season, because this was supposed to be a team that was competing for MLS Cup, and they're still on their way of digging themselves out of a slow start to the season. But 3 points on the road against a red hot Cincinnati team will definitely start that, and let's see if they can of course carry that in these next couple of games too. But now moving on into the last game on this board is Nashville and Atlanta United. And again, it's a shame the fact that there was a weather delay in this game, because when this game started, it looked like it was a sold-out crowd once again at Geodis Park. Like, there were definitely some Five Stripes fans in the crowd there, and especially as we get late into the game, you can definitely hear that that more Atlanta United fans there, and you got to also credit to some of those Atlanta United fans sticking around, because anytime when you're a away fan and you have to make your travel back. Well, actually, I think maybe some of those fans are just staying in the Nashville area, so it kind of doesn't matter, and maybe that makes sense why they decided to stay at that stadium longer than what maybe some Nashville fans does. But you got to give them credit of traveling all the way here to Nashville, even though I know it's not a long trip, but also sticking around because of a long delay that is going. But like I said, it's a shame that it wasn't in a full crowd, because that stadium was packed to the rafters, like what we saw on opening day against the Union. And early on in the 9th minute, Arujo trying to give Atlanta an opening goal in the 9th minute, but he missed wide from long range. And then, of course, the game was stopped because of lightning, and the play didn't resume until 10:07 p.m. So this game started around 6:55 local time, and basically after they play 17 minutes, which I think if I do the math, it's like 7:12, they basically stopped the game. So yeah, the game didn't resume until 10:07, and again by then Geodis Park was pretty much empty, because I know there's going to be a lot of fans that, as much as I know a lot of Nashville fans want to stay so that they can see their team hopefully beat their rivals. I'm pretty sure a lot of them know that they just want to get out of here, especially they don't want to just wait on the concourse for about 3 hours plus before this lightning delay they basically lifted. And you also never know that if a game might be resumed, because we've seen before where games, because of a lightning delay, it was never resumed because it's either too late to kick off or the fact that the pitch is just completely waterlogged. But it wasn't the case in this one. They did resume at 10:07. And also, when the game does kick off late at that time, we're going to get some MLS After Dark kind of moment. And we definitely got that, because right off just a couple of minutes after the game resumed after a lengthy delay, Nashville would take the lead. It's CJ Sapon scoring from Mukhtar and Mer to give Nashville a 1-0 lead. But that lead did not last long, because just 2 minutes later, Amada would score from Moreno to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And really, this was just a rare mistake from Joe Willis. Again, we're going to talk about more goalkeeping mistake and defensive mistake in tomorrow's video too, because we saw a lot in today's action too. But this was just a rare mistake that we know Joe Willis is one of the best, if not one of the most underrated goalkeeper in the league. And here he just gave the ball right to Marcelino Moreno, and Moreno basically say, thank you very much, I'm just going to play this to Amada. And yeah, just like that, the game was tied up at 1 apiece. But we wouldn't stay tied for long, because just 5 minutes later, Mukhtar would score from Sapon to give Nashville the lead again. So, it seems like both players kind of switched plays. Sapon's got the goal, and now he's going to be playing as the assist man. And likewise with Mukhtar, he got the assist. Now he's going to be the goal scorer for that second goal for Nashville SC. And I even wrote, we got some MLS After Dark in full effect. I mean, it was goal raining down left and right. And for a game that, even though this game was delayed for about 3 hours, you wouldn't tell that was the case with the way that there was goals that was coming down left and right. But ultimately, that was actually the last real chance of the first half, or the last chance in the first half, as we do head to halftime with Nashville holding on a 2-1 lead. Now, in the second half, Atlanta started to try to push back. Moreno hits one straight to Willis before Amada hits it wide from 22 yards out. And again, Atlanta, I thought they started the second half the better team and were looking to push for the equalizer. Willis denied Franco on the header before Shuttleworth actually tipped Mukhtar free kick over, as that was really the first opportunity that Nashville has had. And that also turns out to be the opportunity to kind of wake up Nashville a little bit, because they were sleepwalking in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Davis then hits a volley that was denied by Shuttleworth. Nashville, they finally woke up after a slow start to the second half, and were looking to get that third goal to kill this game off. Sapon trying to fire one in and score his second goal, but he missed one from long range. But as the time winds down, and I mentioned before, Nashville, this is one of the best team in terms of holding on to lead, because that they're going to go in their usual low block, which they kind of did in this game too. But one thing that they did not do in this game is able to close out with a win, and that this is also one of the rare times that they actually did gave up a late goal, as in the 88th minute, it's Dom Dwyer, who hasn't scored for a very long time, but he scored here from Lennon and Amada to tied the game up at 2 apiece. In fact, I think this is the first time that Dom Dwyer has scored since, oh god, I know it was in the beginning of the season, and I know Atlanta was playing at home, but I forgot which opponent that they were facing. It might have been Orlando, but I think that maybe is too good to be true, because imagine if Dom Dwyer, of course, is able to score against his former team. It might have been another opponent, but it's been a while since Dom Dwyer has scored. Oh, I think it was Charlotte FC that he scored. Or no, actually no, it wasn't Charlotte FC, because I know in that game Atlanta got a late goal, and I think Dwyer scored like twice in one of the game. But either way, it's been a while since Dwyer has got on the score sheet, but he got on the score sheet here to tie the game up at 2 apiece. Though there was one more chance for Nashville to retake the lead in the 90th minute, as Zubak trying to do so, but he unfortunately missed wide there. And yeah, in the end, it ends in a 2-2 draw in this one. And for Nashville, they're pretty much going to have the same feeling that DC fans had earlier in yesterday night, which is, they had the win right on the cusp, and they let it slip late in the game. But shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 14 that Atlanta has, 5 shots on goal compared to 4 that Atlanta has, 6 shots off target compared to 7 that Atlanta has, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Nashville has in this game. But either way, that is pretty much it in terms of looking at these 4 games that happened yesterday. And again, when the final game of tonight between the Union and the Timbers is over, I'm actually not going to just go do the review, because I still have to write some of the notes for some of these 10 game action that's going to be happening on Sunday. But also not to mention the fact that I have to go to bed early again. I have to get back to work at 4:30 in the morning. So yeah, the review for the Sunday game is going to be released tomorrow, and that once I do get off work tomorrow, I will start writing the remaining board or writing the remaining notes on some of these games, because I have a feeling I probably won't finish writing the notes for all 8 games that I'm about to put on this board, and also on the other board that I'm working on in terms of some of the games that happened today. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this video, and also what do you think about some of the games that happened yesterday. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.